Setting up your meeting for custom streaming service. If you ask me what I do with all of these, you're gonna have to be on VIP for me to tell you all of my secrets, trade secrets, right? Listen, nothing is a secret. You just have to make time, learn. If you don't want to pay for it, YouTube University is probably your best bet, because you either have the money or the time. And if you don't have the money to pay somebody to hack yourself into what they're doing, you're going to have to make time, and you either spend money or spend time. Either way, you're going to get your information. You're just not going to get the other one faster than you need to. It's just the speed with which you get it, right? Because you're going to have to weed through thousands of videos on YouTube. So, however, the question is, how speedy do you want the information? That's really where that's really the right question you need to ask is, how speedy do I want this information? And if someone else is already doing it, I don't want to waste any time. I could just hack that and straight away do that, right? And Dan, you were right. It's just now showing my face. How did I figure this out? The last day of the challenge. You should have put your advertisement on your, you know how when you do that, Dan, you put your picture and your phone number. Okay. See, you don't got to be perfect to do this. You just got to do it. And listen, there's Dan's advertising, except I don't think you're showing up anymore, Dan. Let me look at LinkedIn really quick. Last day of the challenge. Oh yeah, it's just me and my big Filipina face in all of its might. Okay, this is cool. But see, let me just tell you the trajectory of your learning, right? Many of you will not allow success to come in because it's too slow. You want it overnight. Many of you will not allow success and eat your food of success one bite at a time. You want it overnight. And I'm telling you right now, this is the 10th day of 10 days. Last 2 weeks, Monday through Friday, we have been going live. And it took about 10 days for me, with Dan's help in the VIP, to figure out that this is how, because I've been wondering how, and I don't have time to YouTube everything, right? I've been wondering how. Dan was like, oh yeah, you just changed the view. But I didn't allow that to get me stuck and not do the work. I just did the work and the answer showed up down the road. 10 days later. Woo! 10 days. That's speedy, because, you know, without having to worry about all the kinks, you just do it. I think we worry so much about perfection. And I'm not worried about, you know, wearing a hoodie. Just wearing a hoodie on these live, putting myself out there to the world. It's awesome. Guys, I'm going to just give you a recap really quick of what has been happening in the past 5 days. So you can go back. I mean, you can also go back to the day number 1, but day 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we have been talking a lot about money and marriage. This week, all week, number 6, day number 6 of 10, it was about money and marriage, introduction to it. I talked a lot about money reflection. Okay. I talked a lot about that because that's critical in order for you to not get to today's topic, which is love is grand, divorce is 10 grand. Are we cool? Day number 6 was, well, all the way back in day number 1, we were talking about money reflection overall. Whether you're married or not, it doesn't matter. We all have a molding around money. And then we progressed into the more technical part of money, because money There is a huge side of money that is not technical, but I always make everything tangible. I like to talk about the non-technical side, which is quote unquote, sometimes it's the juju, the foo-foo, whatever you want to call it. I like to translate it into regular life, day-to-day modern life. That's why I'm called the modern day money coach. I can't see. My gosh, my vision has been very, very bad lately. Good. Thank God for readers, right? This is a reader. Now it's clearer. 1.25 readers. Share the room. Comment in the chat. I'm not going to see it because I'm looking at my Zoom right now and I'm doing this last day, 10 days. Oh my gosh. Let me just look at the thing that we've been talking about today. Okay. Sorry. Distracted. ADHD, ADD. Shout out to my ADHD and ADD people out there. You got this. We got this. All right. Okay. Day number 5. Or no, day number 6, because 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 this week. Last week, I'm not going to go over the titles. You're going to have to go back, especially on Multiply Influence, because I wasn't broadcasting to several platforms last week. But day number 6 was Introduction to Money and Marriage. Day number 7 was Don't Wing the Money Part in Your Marriage. Day number 8, here's why you don't wing it. Let me just go back to day 7. You don't wing it because it will slap you and wing it back to you. You don't wing it because it'll wing its hand back to you like a backhanded tennis racket hit. Number 8, joint account in marriage. This was actually a fun day for me because I tie it into the banking world, right? Where joint account in partnership, they require you to have all of the business partners that are on the operating agreement to be on that account, because you are just as liable as as the other person in the business, but they don't require that in marriage. And that's a big qualm for me, that they do not require that in marriage. Like, why do we put so much emphasis on our business, right? But we don't put so much emphasis on our business or business of marriage. Because I parallel the two, and they're pretty much, I can transfer and install the idea and the concept of business into marriage. I can also do that vice versa into business, but mostly the business to the marriage, right? I know it's not a business. Don't judge me. But the way it should be operated should be a profitable business. And you know how we respect people in our business because there are what we call quote unquote customers, right? Clients, but we don't treat our spouses and our family members like they're our best clients. It's like we install that in our business and then we deinstall the same concept when we get to home. What happened, right? There's a lot of talk about that from me to you on Wednesday, joint account in marriage. Day number 9, discuss money background. We discussed a lot. Why is money background important? Because the molding, that little child will show up in your relationships. Remember what I always say, money touches everything, and it touches everything that you love. It'll show up in your relationships. Money touches every relationship. And if you don't talk about the background and you suppress the background before tying the knot, that was the idea yesterday. Like, recommended from me to you is have a conversation about that. I call it the money, premarital money counseling. In the Philippines, in the Catholic world, Shout out to my Filipino people. I can never say just Philippines without saying that phrase. Shout out to my Filipino people, because that's my people. I want to acknowledge my people, right? My brothers and sisters in the Philippines. But before we get married over there with the Catholic background, it's a Catholic country, right? There's always what we call a premarital counseling. And we go in front of our priest, and the priest is very faith-based, right? It doesn't talk about money. And the priest, will have like a quick conversation between the two of you. It's kind of like a counseling. So there's a third party, and that's me in the money world. I'm the third party. So if this is you and you don't want to go through it by yourself, premarital, before you tie the knot, premarital money counseling is going to be critical. And if you so love each other, because love is grand, divorce is 10 grand, right? The beginning, there's always a lot of love and excitement, right? And then if we don't address the middle, this is what this thing is all about. This thing, I'm showing you my notes. Like literally, I write things down manually, right? When I came up with all the titles, it was all manual notes. Let me see. Let me look at the screen to make sure you could see my notes, because I'm reading, I'm looking down, and these were downloads of how I title these days. Let me show you. See if you could see the notes. Okay, I think that's enough. The broadcast live is so behind. It's quite behind. It can't, when I show you my notes, it's like 15 seconds behind. So in any case, this is why that discuss money background was so critical. I had to talk about it, because that child will show up in your relationship if that child isn't addressed prior to tying the knot. We need premarital money counseling. You really do. You need a third party to do it, because it can get weird when you mix it into the excitement of the wedding and the love and all of that stuff. And today, I'm dropping the mic. I'm dropping the mic today. We are going to talk about love is grand, divorce is 10 grand. We're literally talking about the beginning and the end. Most of you, in the title, it's literally what the title means. Love is grand, right? It's very grand. We got to spend a lot of money on wedding. We got to spend a lot of money on the dress, the rings, put the ring on that finger, right? We got to do all of that. Well, gotta is actually, you just get to do all of that if you have the budget, right? And some people don't even have the budget, but they still do it. You're blessed to be able to do all of that. That is grand, right? And love is grand. Here's the biggest problem. You don't see it in my title, the middle part, because nobody wants to talk about the middle part. When the going gets tough, it can get really tough. But you do say in your I do's of the world, during your ceremony, you do say these phrases. And granted, you follow your pastor, they say it before you, and then you say it after, right? I don't know if you take it all in and take it to heart when you say this. Through thick or thin, in sickness and in health, till death do we part. Did you realize what you just said when love was grand? Right? Because when the going gets tough, you forget what you said in front of all the people. There were a ton of witnesses in front of all the world. And frankly, it's probably on video. Shame on you if you get to the divorce is 10 grand or more. 10 grand or more. It's shame to get to that when you truly, now I do want to acknowledge I do want to acknowledge that there are certain situations out there that you must end it. Okay. There are situations and we create boundaries. Ladies, we have to have boundaries. And we create boundaries in order for us to not be abused, right? Verbally, physically, mentally, and all the lees. We create those boundaries. And maybe through proper communication, that can help too, right? Because when the going gets tough and you communicate, like you look at the other person, it's like, what happened to the love is grand? What happened to the person I married? Like they turn into like a witch. What happened? When the going got tough, they turn into a witch. That's because you didn't address the middle. You didn't reflect and have a conversation and do a premarital money counseling to see how you were molded around money by your parents. Remember, in the past days, we talked about being molded by two separate sets of parents. And there's going to be issue. It's going to be a default and a given because you were taught by two different teachers. Four, actually. Four. So when you get married, you're not just getting married, two of you. There's six of you. Because how you parent, how you were parented is how you're going to parent. Unless you accept that it was wrong and that you need to change it and break that cycle. It's up to you. You get to make that decision. See, a lot of people, well, my mom said this is this, and that shows up in the relationship sometimes. Well, my dad's always done that. Okay, but your dad's not in the marriage. Yeah, he is. He's inside of me. He's inside of me. He molded me. And a lot of you don't think about those little details that you grew up for, let's just say on a standard American way, up to 18 years old, right? And then you get kicked out of the house to go to college or wherever you need to go. But 18 years of molding in the most critical part of your life, the first 18 years, that's a critical part. That's going to show up in your relationship, right? The love is grand is going to go away if you don't address the middle. It literally is the middle is like the biggest part of your journey. It's what you said you were going to do to live the rest of your life with that person. You chose one person to live with the rest of your life. That's what marriage is. But we forget to define it. So let's go ahead and get started. My name is Kareen Mills with the heart on my photo. The heart on my photo is my mama's heart. Shout out to Rose. Rose is in the Philippines right now, hanging out with my dad. She comes back to America to visit my sister in LA and me here. And then she sometimes go to England to visit my brother. Rose has her second wind. Rose have sacrificed so much in her life so that I could be here for you. I could be here to teach you something, and I could be here to live in her legacy. This is her legacy. I am her legacy, right? And she is the brand. She is the center of my brand, the heart on my photo. She's the logo that represents her, and everything I do is a tribute to her, because I do not want to waste all of the things that she did helping us to get here. I help you make peace with your money through financial literacy and education inside my global platform, Multiply. Multiply is obedient and powerful in the mathematical world. Multiply's mission is to help you create matrix-like awareness. And it doesn't need to sound very confusing and actually not confusing. It doesn't need to sound very complicated, because when we say matrix, sometimes it can land on the other side as a complicated thing, but it could just be a spreadsheet where you now have a matrix like awareness, because you know when your bills are due, you know when your bills are getting paid, you know what you're going to pay, you know the interest rate, you know. That's what matrix like aware. It's like a full awareness of your money, around your money game, so you can become unstoppable. You don't become unstoppable by making a lot of money, because there's going to be the leak behind you. That's going to, I call it the financial plumbing leaks of your money game. The back door is not closed because you're not committing to closing it. And closing that back door is critical to multiply your wealth. It is truly critical, because the little things, remember a week ago in our day 1 to 5, I talked a lot about the little things are going to get you in big trouble. It's not the big things. It's the little stuff that's going to get you in big trouble. Why? Is because if you can't manage $100, there is no way you're going to be good at managing 1,000. There is no way you're going to be good at managing 10, and so on and so forth. This is exactly why there is such a thing as a lottery curse. Because people that win multi-million dollars, you know how you pray and you wish you just have more money to pay off your bills? Well, the lottery curse, and you can Google this, don't take my word for it, Google it. The lottery curse. On average, people who win multi-million dollars in the lottery, they lose it all within an average of 5 years. If more money was the answer, the lottery curse would not be here today to teach us a lesson. Do you see? People that win $500 million, they end up buying a $30 million Hollywood Hills mansion. Do you know how much it costs to maintain such a property? $30 million. Do you know how many staff member you have to maintain? And they're pure cost because you live there, right? Unless you do something to make it a business. I don't know. But 30 million. The other thing is, if you need to sell it, there's only a few people that could afford it. Financial literacy and education will tell you, instead of doing that, if you have it in here, if you commit to matrix-like awareness, you would be buying like a 200-unit apartment that's like class A or even class B, and you turn it into a class A, right? You put a little bit of value, added value. You could change all the appliances in an old school apartment complex. You change all the pavement to make it look good. You invest in landscaping. You change management. You change all the appliances into stainless steel. That's money multiplying. That's a better decision than buying a $30 million mansion. You see, that's the essence of financial literacy. It's not about making the most money. It's about, what do you do with the money that you make? It's the decisions that you make when you do make that money. It's not about the money that you make, but rather the decisions that you make. Since when talking about couples today, relationships all week, marriage all week, we're talking about both of you. The decisions that you make around your money as a couple is going to change your life, good or bad. And if you don't make the decision to actually put your heads together and talk about it together and be on the same page, right? What do we do in business when we have a partnership? Each partner needs to be on the same page with the same mission and vision. And that leads me to my next topic here in a little bit, is the mission and vision in your marriage. What does that look like? The 3 pillars of multiply is money, time, and impact. You can't shuffle it. You can't exchange it around with reposition it. Money has to come first. Well, Kareen, it's not all about the money. 1000% agree. But money touches everything, and it touches everything that you love. So we need to pay attention to it. We need to make a commitment to get really good at it. We need to make a commitment, and we need to create discipline around it, because you're not going to build your money six-pack ab if you don't go to the gym. Unfortunately, there's only you can outsource a lot of things, right? But off the top of my head, you can only outsource a couple of things around these ideas. Number one, you can't outsource a couple of things. Number one, you can't outsource someone to go to the gym for you. So if your doctor found out that you have XYZ issue, if your doctor diagnosed you with something, right? And now all of a sudden you go to the gym because you have a health scare. Why do we wait until then? And you can't outsource somebody to go to the gym for you, expecting you getting the result. You have to go to the gym to get your six-pack ab, or to get lean, whatever your goal is, or to lose weight. It's the same thing with money. You can't have matrix-like awareness unless you do it. You make the commitment and you commit to your discipline, right? Money is actually easy to make, but being disciplined around it is the hardest part. It's a real work. It's real work. But the harder you work at it, the better you become with it, just like anything. And you'll get a money six-pack ab. Oh, what does a money six-pack ab look like, Kareen? Well, your bank account goes viral. Don't care about going viral on social media. I'm just here to educate. Now, if I go viral as a byproduct, great, I'll take it. But I'm here to educate the world from a very different perspective. And I call myself a modern day money coach. So the 3 pillars is money, time, and impact. The 3 stages is proprietary to this process: money keeping, money making, and money multiplying. Multiplying is where it's at. Remember, you're in the multiply empire. I was made in the Philippines, born and raised, came here with broken English at 20. I went from broken English to broke in 4 months. Record time, another story for another day. Money is my jam, but it hasn't always been my jam. It jammed me first. You see, when you make a mistake or life throws you a curveball, because remember, when you wing it, it wings back at you. When you wing your money game, it wings back at you. If you don't discipline yourself around your money game, it will discipline you. Like, it's really that black and white. It's really that simple. You see, it's not that hard conceptually, but it's very hard to do in the real world. And I live in the real world. I don't live in the fancy world. So we're here today talking about love is grand, divorce is 10 grand. And I was alluding to the mission and vision. If you, as a married couple, that is the business of marriage. If you are about to get into the business of marriage, you need to sit down together and write down, what is our mission every day? What are we going to do to get to our vision? So the mission is the day-to-day. It could be every day you need to turn in the receipts to me. And our mission is to be on the same page in our marriage around money, and have an open communication channel around money without yelling at each other. Because the yell comes from the child version of you. It doesn't come from the adult version of you. All the uneasiness, all the weird stuff that happens to you and it shows up unannounced, it really comes from the childhood version of you. So if you can, when you hear that childhood version or child version of you, and if you can recognize it, this is one of the reasons why I teach this. If you can recognize it, then you should regulate it, because you will never get rid of it. It will always be in there. But the more you acknowledge the child version of you when it shows up, especially the witch version, especially that one, okay? And you can see it and you can feel it and you can acknowledge it. It's where change happens. You know how they say, you can never change somebody. That comes from that rooted, deep childhood version of you, because you can never change that. It's in there forever, whether you like it or not. But where change happens is when you know it's there. And when it shows up, you recognize it. You're fully aware that it's starting to show up. And then you regulate it and find coping mechanism skills to try and regulate it when you recognize that the witch is starting to show up. Your alter ego is starting to show up. My name is Kareen and my alter ego is Karen. Okay, I've named her. And when you name your alter ego, the witch version of you, shout out to all the Karens of the world. I know a lot of Karens that are not witches. They're very good. Okay, I just want to say that because I don't want to offend anybody. And if I offended you by saying that, I apologize. But that's what I call my alter ego. And my alter ego, when she starts showing up, I start recognizing it. It takes practice, by the way. It's not overnight. It's not just like me telling you and then you go try it and then it's just going to work. It takes a lot of practice. That's why this challenge is here to kind of just plant the seed in you so that you can start having that filter and recognize it as you go about your day after this challenge. This is our last day together. And if you're not in the club, please message me the word club. Go to my Instagram and message me the word club. And my robot will send you some information. My robot works very hard for me. It doesn't get sick, doesn't complain. It just works. But you got to send it the right word, the trigger word, which is club, C-L-U-B. Don't send, hi, Kareen said, message you club, just the word club. And it will trigger. Yeah, the robot likes to be triggered. So mission and vision. Okay. Before you enter the business of marriage, somebody's got the hot mic out there in the VIP. Go ahead and mute your mic really quick. We've got about 20 more minutes and I'll come to you. So mission and vision are the day-to-day. What are we going to do to get there? Okay. The thing that you're going to need to do because you're not going to get there overnight, right? If you're already in a marriage, you have to slow it down. You have to slowly introduce things to your special someone. But if you're not there yet, prior, you need to sit down together while love is still grand. While love is still grand. You need to sit down with your loved one and define what is our day-to-day mission. Are we going to sit down and have a meeting every week? Corporations do it. Why do they do it? Because they need to operate in their mission. Why can't you do it? Why can't you deinstall what's in corporate America and install it in your or businesses and install it in your marriage? Why can't you create a mission? Every week, maybe we will sit down and look through our finances in the beginning. Maybe weekly is important in the beginning. And then when you both get really good at it, maybe it becomes a monthly thing. I don't know. Do what works for you. But don't go without anything. Somebody still has a hot mic. It's Paula. I'm going to mute you, Paula. Don't go about it without a mission and a vision. And the big vision is going to be, honey, what are we working hard for every day? Are we just spinning our wheels here, or do we have a vision? Write that down. It's not going to be perfect the first time, but you will perfect it over time. Write it down together. What's our vision? Are we just spinning the wheels every day, screaming at each other? Okay, if you're not screaming at each other, maybe you're not even talking about it, which is also just as worse. Not having a communication about money is also just as bad. Okay, there's got to be I don't want to call it balance because I don't like that word, because there's never a balance. You know, it's like common ground. Let's say there's got to be a common ground where you have a vision, because when the going gets tough, remember guys, the middle part, because you don't want to get to the divorce as 10 grand, Love is grand, divorce is 10 grand. You want to address the middle part. How often are we going to do this? Weekly, every other week, or when the statements pop? What's your commitment around money and what's my commitment around money? If you don't have a vision together, what's going to happen is salary differences is going to show up. And it does not feel good for the person letting go of the words. And it does not feel good for the other person who's receiving the words. It does not feel good for both. And it's not a win-win situation. It is a lose-lose proposition. And guess what? There's a third person or fourth. Your kids are watching. I took a pause because the kids are important. They are critical because you know why? Remember I talk about the reflection about money in your molding? You're molding your kids right now. You're your parent now. You see, you're in the parent section now. Your position in life have changed. You become the molder of a newer generation. Your position has become that person that molds the next one. And if you are not committing to a mission and vision, by the way, once you have it down, share it with your children. They need to be a contributing member of your team. They will never run the show. I hope that you won't allow them. They just need to be a contributing member of your team, just like any business or corporation. Because with the mission and vision, when the going gets tough, I'm telling you, you're going to go back to that. And if you have a little extra money, put it on a frame. Go to canva.com. Write it down on a nice little, I don't know, poster or something. I mean, Canva is like an amazing resource. You know, print it on a shiny piece of paper, go spend a little money at Staples or wherever if you don't have the printer at home, right? Canva will probably print it for you in a nice little paper, shiny or whatever you want, or poster, and then you could post it around your home. Put it up, because you know what corporations do? They put it up on their wall so that every team, every member of the team knows, lives it, breathes it, eats it every day. By seeing that on the wall, it is very critical. And can you imagine when your friends come? I don't like to host parties in my house. My house is a private space for me and my family. Also, I don't have to buy a mansion because most people that host parties in their homes, they like to show off, right? I don't have to show off anything. It's like you're making decisions based on your parties. I can't do that. But I do host parties, events at the Marriott down the road. It's part of my business, right? I do host Airbnbs. It's one of my favorite business. I host guests over there. But by golly, don't come to my home. This is my family's home. It's a private space. But for those of you that allows people in there, right? They can see, imagine walking by your mission and vision, and imagine you showing them what's possible, and imagine you telling them that that's your business of marriage, mission and vision, and that's what you both are working towards. And every day, this is your mission every day, so you can get to the big vision. That's a different conversation. It's a totally different conversation with your friends and family, right? It becomes a legacy conversation. This is my family's legacy. This is what my family does on a daily basis. We don't blame each other and tell each other, well, I make the most money. I should be the boss of the house. No, it doesn't matter who makes the money. What matters is every member of your team is contributing towards that vision. There is one target for everybody. Remember, let me just give you a review. See, because we don't take these definitions seriously until a teacher like myself brings it to surface for you. Marriage is recognized as a union of two people as partners in a personal relationship. Recognize. Do you recognize that it's a union of two people? Because that recognition goes out the door when the going gets tough. And it's not a win-win situation when you tell your spouse that I make the most money in this household. Do you forget what other contribution are there? There's, raising kids, there's cleaning a house, there's driving the kids to and from school. It's a contribution. And it's going towards the same target. The salary differences conversation needs to just be crushed. We need to get rid of it. And the reason you're not is because you don't have a target together. You don't have a mission and a vision together. In a corporation, the mission is there so that every day can live it, breathe it, eat it every day so that everybody do their fair share. Everybody's carrying their own weight, right? In whatever form. There are salespeople. Salespeople brings in the money. Salespeople don't tell operations people, well, I bring the most revenue into this corporation. You're nobody. The CEO don't tell the CFO, well, I bring the revenue. You're just a pencil pusher. I'm the face of the company. Guys, we need to get rid of all this. I'm getting really serious today because this title hurts my heart. Hurts my heart. Because love is so exciting in the beginning, and then I see a lot of marriages fall apart because of money. And yes, there's other reasons, right? But money is my jam, and it jammed me first. It's my subject matter. And it's the number 4 reason why people get to the love is grand, divorce is 10 grand. Is number 4 on the tally. The salespeople don't say, well, I'll bring most of the revenue. You're just sitting behind supporting me. What happens if the operations people, the marketing people, the other positions are gone? Salespeople are going to be a big F mess. It doesn't work. So in the business of marriage, you better recognize that you are a union of two people. That you recognize that even though the operations people that are operating the household don't bring as much revenue as you, they have to be there. They have a purpose, and it's just as great purpose as you do. You see, you think about, that's why I say I can install the business concepts into a marriage. Because what we do is we wear our business hats, our corporate hats, and then we throw that hat and we get nasty in the house. We treat our customers better than our spouses. What happened to love is grand? What happened to the wedding vows? What happened to through thick or thin, in sickness and in health, till death do we part? Now, I'm telling you, it's not perfect. It's a challenge. Marriage is a challenge. Just like a business, right? There's always something. It's a challenge, but you signed the contract. Did you not know what you were getting into when you went in it? Oh, I could talk about this all day, and I could do this serious Kareen voice all day because it is serious. I'm very passionate about the union of two people. I'm very passionate about especially the middle part. because the middle part is the most critical part, mission and vision. And if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, and you don't have a mission and a vision in your business of marriage, I want to know, is this landing for you? Type it in the chat or comment. Are you going to do this with your special someone? Now that you heard it, you can't unhear it. You can't uneducate yourself. After I said it, it registers right here. That's what teachers do. We plant seeds. It's registering, but is it registering in a molding kind of way, or is it going in one ear and go out to the other? I'm being mom right now. To mother the world through finance. See, I'm living my vision right now. To mother the world through financial education so you can have financial freedom. I'm living in my legacy. And by the way, you don't have to leave a legacy. You can live in it. I've been talking about it the last 2 weeks. You can live in your legacy. Enjoy it. Don't just leave it. Leaving it is just kind of like looking at the end of your life, right? Because you're going to leave upon your death. In fact, one of my one-to-one students, clients, customers, whatever you want to call her. And I really believe I was woken up by God today at 3:24 in the morning, because usually, and by the way, I'm a faith-based business. So if you're not in alignment with that, that's okay. I will never make you wrong for what you believe in or not. And all I ask is just don't make me wrong. It's a faith-based business. So I woke up at 3:24, went to the bathroom, lay down around trying to go back to sleep, couldn't go back to sleep, just super excited to end with a bang here today, and many other excitement in my life. And, my one of my one-to-one students talking about death around, what time did she text me? Cindy Stumpo just texted me. It was her birthday yesterday. Let's see. Let's see. She sent me a voice note, very emotional. Her aunt that she loves so much is in the hospice, passing on. And she was asking something. It was literally before 4, probably 3:33. I think 3:33, around that. That's, by the way, shout out to God. That's God's number. She shared some of these stuff, very emotional, in a voice note. And then I just kind of looked up and said, I know why you woke me up. It's for this woman today. So she was asking for some advice, and I happen to have a lady that came, and she's local to me. She came to my event. They both came to my brunch mastermind. Just happened this month. This is still June, right? June 23rd. So this month, early June 4th, exactly about 19 days ago, I had my brunch mastermind here locally, and they both were there. And when you're a great connector, you really it's just automatic. When you get to be a great connector, it's automatic. I gave her some advice. I let her know, hey, focus on the middle. Don't focus on and it's funny because my title today is the beginning and the end. Love is grand. That's the beginning, is grandeur. And then divorce is 10 grand is the end, right? But I always talk about the middle, but it's not in my title. And so what I advised her to do, because she's super duper emotional, it's probably like her second mom, her aunt, in hospice. So what I advised her to do in the end, to call this other woman that I serve, that's a death doula, and maybe she can start having a conversation to her. I connected them both. It's already done. I do so much work in the morning. Like most people will wait till spend their whole day to do it. And I said to her, focus on your aunt's middle. We focus so much on the birth of a human being, right? Which is happy. It should be happy. It's great. And then we also get very emotional, a human being's end. But we forget to focus on the middle while the good times were here, celebrating somebody's life. So what I let her know is connecting you to the doula, the death doula, and you need to start writing things down of, her great memory of that middle. Like, how did she spend her life? How did she impact your life? Like, when you do that, you might have some emotions and you might have tears, but that's a better focus than focusing. Yes, you still have to take care of that, because when you have some family member passing on, there's a lot of things to take care of, especially when your medical directives, your power of attorney. I mean, there's a lot of legalities, right? So it does take so much out of you. But to ease the process in anything, in any challenge in life, when you journal things that are great about, especially upon this kind of life event, which is a death, is you want to start writing down those good times. And that's what you should do in your marriage. When the going gets tough in your marriage and you're starting to throw the D word, love is grand, the D word, divorce word, the divorce is 10 grand word, you need together. It's going to be the hardest thing you'll ever do, especially you've never done it before. Together, unless there was abuse, right? Again, I always want to acknowledge those because I want to make sure that I'm being fair here. Sit down together and talk about the good times. Talk about your wedding, right? It is the hardest thing to do when you're fighting. But calm down, find a common ground and see if it's worth going through that. Because do you know what like the dating world out there looks like? I can tell you, the person that just like messaged me, okay, this morning, she tells me all the time. She's a single woman, single mom, 50 some years old, especially when you get up there in age. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Think about the mission and the vision you need to have that you didn't have. So put it in the chat as I end this today. If you're going to do that with your loved one, and if you don't have one, are you going to do that and apply and install that in your life? And that's going to be your homework for this last day together with me. Are you going to do that? And if you're going to do that, make sure that when you finish it, okay, create a video or story. You don't have to share it to me. But you can share how the process went with your special someone and put it somewhere in your social. Just share how the process was, how difficult it was, how victorious you feel, just all the feels. And tag me on it, because I want to know if you took action. Because if you do not execute, you will get executed. This is one of my Kareen isms. I have a lot of Kareen isms because I take time to think a lot. So if you do not execute, your marriage will get executed. Make sure you execute this and tag me when you finish it. Tag me with your progress, you guys, because this has been such a rewarding thing that I'm doing. I think I'm going to do it again in another quarter. This is the last month of the quarter. And this has been, oh my gosh, it's been God sent. It really has been. I get to talk to you live in 5 different platforms. That alone is a godsend. I get to communicate to the world through technology when I used to call myself a techno moron. That's a godsend. There's so much to be grateful for in this life. Focus on the goods. Focus on the good. And if the going gets tough, think about the good times and write down those mission and vision, because it's gonna take you through tough times. What corporations do when they have a tough time, they will go revisit their mission and their vision, especially a financial crash, financial market crash in 08. A lot of those guys looked at their mission and their vision because they're about to go down if they don't stick to it. It's the same thing with your business of marriage. It's no different. Don't take off your best customer hat. You treat all your customers like they're on a pedestal, but you go home and treat your family like shit. Don't do that. Try to install what you learn in your business, in your professional life, and install it in your home. Don't forget to do that. Write this down. Install my attitude at work to my home, because your home deserves it more. Unless your priorities are twisted. If your priorities are twisted, then I can't help you. I'm sorry. You're gonna need some deep shrink. You're gonna need like someone else. You're not gonna get help from here. We're not a good fit. So with that being said, it is 6:03. I want to invite all of you, if this has been fun for you and if you need more, you can join the club, Kareen.club, by messaging me on Instagram. Go to my Instagram. Make sure you follow me first, because that particular robot that I have in there will not get triggered if you are not following me. It goes into what we call a message request box. And the message request box is kind of like the junk mail of email. No one is watching that. We just delete everything that's in there. There's a lot in there too, or we just allow it to accumulate. And to weed through that is going to be very difficult. So you can message me the word club if you want to see me again in private. Every single month, the club has transitioned from a one-way training from me and loaded automatically twice a month, 15-minute training to 30-minute training. Now it's more of a live thing, just like I'm doing in the VIP in the backstage, that where I'm about to go to. And Linda, Genevieve, Lisa, oh, Lisa is down there. I'm going to end my clubhouse now, but Lisa, come on to the VIP. You all have the link if you're not there yet. So, you can join, and I'll see you once a month and come up with your questions. Go execute, because you'll be executed if you don't execute. Execute what you learn, come back again and ask more questions. Every month we're going to do a live Zoom, because I feel like I'm giving so much more value doing that in this experience with this particular challenge. I feel like the value is so much more, and people that shows up, they get more out of it at the same time. So it's a win-win situation. And I don't like a lose-lose proposition, So I don't want you to be the only one winning, and I don't want to be the only one winning. We all need to win. So message me the word club on Instagram. I don't have robots anywhere else, just in Instagram. And that way you can join those live calls every single month. The other thing I want to invite you to is really 3 things. Number 2 is leadership to legacy. Okay. If you don't have a clear legacy, you don't have a clear activities and behavior during your day-to-day to lead you to that legacy. You need to design the whole thing. And that's what leadership to legacy is. And guess what message you're going to message me? Leadership. Or guess what word you're going to message me on Instagram? Leadership. It's just a leadership training for 4 months. And then the last but not the least is my Villa Mastermind collaboration with Credit Ninja. We are going on a 50-acre in Temecula Valley in California, the wine country of Southern California, in a villa. We only have space for 16 people. And it's a weekend event mastermind. It's a villa mastermind I own, and I cannot believe, and it will be in there, the URL villamastermind.com. Nothing is in there yet, but you can DM me the word. Here's the word. Are you ready? Bag, B-A-G. The title is Villa Mastermind, Build Your Bag. I am so tired of people telling people to go get the bag. The bag does not exist. If you think you can just get to it, you have to build the bag. And in that mastermind, you get to spend all the time with us. You get to stay in the villa. You get to build your products and services through the system that I use. I get to teach you all of my systems. So whenever you're finished, you have the bag, because the bag has to be built. And the bag, once it's built, you pass it on so people can put money in it, like the church. It's like a collection bag. Okay. You can't get to it because it doesn't exist until you build it. So you got to build the bag. You don't get to the bag. You got to do the work. Remember our hashtag? It's do the work. Nothing is going to get done for you if you don't get it done. You're the only one that could save you. It's coming to save you. No one else is coming to save you. Build the bag, Villa Mastermind. You have to DM me the word bag, B-A-G. So those are the top 3 things. There's many other coming up, but those are the top 3 things I want to talk about. Let's see. Rich Anonymous. Rich Anonymous, how to make peace with your money to build financial freedom. It's a summit. It's a 1-day summit. I don't know if I'm going to do it next month, but most rich people are anonymous. They don't show off their things on Instagram and social media. Now, granted, there's some of those that are very real and they do have them, right? But the rich people I know, they're anonymous. So I want you to build your richness anonymously. That's the kind of rich I like, you know? So Rich Anonymous is a 1-day free summit. If you're interested, actually, I'm just going to go live and do to talk about the Rich Anonymous Summit. It's an interview series with a bunch of all of my buddies that can touch, like to a degree, touches money with their genius, right? They have a certain lane of genius, but to a degree, every single geniuses that comes on this Rich Anonymous Summit is going to touch money with their genius. So keep an eye on it. The best way to do it is just make sure that you're following me on every platform. And that way, when I go live and do the same thing, you'll hear me do it. Ring the bell to always, so you get notified. But guys, my time is up. I'm a little bit over here with my last day. It's my last day. I'm kind of sad, but we'll do this again. It has been fun. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, but it has been fun. So have a wonderful day. I'm going to go to the VIPs now. They're patiently waiting, as always, for me. Make sure you type the numbers in the chat, VIPs, so we can streamline the process. Have a great day.